According to internal reports, the Pentagon has overestimated the value of the ammunition, missiles and other equipment it sent to Ukraine by around $3 billion. The error was the result of assigning a higher than warranted value on weaponry that was taken from US stocks and then shipped to Ukraine. According to experts, this error could pave the way for more weapons being sent to Kiev for its ongoing war with Russia. Ukraine's capital, Kiev, has been attacked from the air by Russia for the 9th time this month. Kiev's authorities say it seemed all incoming missiles had been destroyed. However, debris falling from the air caused damage in 2 districts. 1 person has been killed and 2 more wounded in a missile strike on the Black Sea port of Odessa. Blasts were also heard in some of Ukraine's central western regions. The sourcing and flow of weapons on both sides of the war in Ukraine was on the agenda on Thursday's session of the UN Security Council. Council representatives pointed fingers towards the parties they deemed responsible for the continued aggression. Meanwhile, the deputy to the High Representative for Disarmament Affairs updated the number of civilian casualties to at least 23,821 since the beginning of the conflict. The council session took place against the backdrop of new sanctions announced by the US and the rest of the G7 economies. US President Joe Biden has told Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida that the US and Japan will hold Russia accountable for its invasion of Ukraine. Biden told Kishida that we stand up for shared values, including supporting the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereign territory and holding Russia accountable for its aggression. Biden's comments come ahead of the Hiroshima G7 leaders meeting. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met with Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to sign a historic Hiroshima Accord. The new partnership will help the UK step up defense cooperation with Japan. The countries will also announce the launch of a semiconductor partnership to strengthen chip supply chains as part of the accord. European Council President Charles Michel has said that it's in the EU's interest to maintain a stable and constructive cooperation with China. He added that the EU would call on China to step up pressure on Russia to stop its military aggression in Ukraine. Michel's comments come ahead of the G7 leaders summit in Hiroshima. The G7 countries, including Japan, the United States, Germany, Britain, France, Canada, and Italy. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has departed for Japan to attend the G7 Leaders Summit. The Indian Prime Minister will also hold bilateral meetings with world leaders on the sidelines of the summit. After the Japan visit, Modi will go to Papua New Guinea for the FPIC summit. He will also visit Australia and hold bilateral talks with his Australian counterpart, Anthony Albanese. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has said that he would not join an investigation by the country's anti-graft agency while out on bail. Khan added that he will not bow down under the pressure that the government was mounting on him and his party. He was arrested on May 9th and later set free on court-ordered bail that was extended to May 31st. Khan's arrest triggered a wave of violence that deepened political instability in the South Asian nation of 220 million. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad is set to attend an Arab League summit. This will be his first summit since Syria was suspended from the regional body 12 years ago. Syria was readmitted to the Arab League earlier this month. President Assad arrived in the Saudi Arabian port city of Jeddah on Thursday evening. That's where the Arab League summit is taking place. Several Palestinians were injured after Israeli police opened fire and used tear gas against them. The incident took place while Palestinian protesters were participating in a protest on the Gaza Strip's eastern border with Israel. The protest occurred following a so-called flag march by far-right Israelis on Thursday. The march had taken place in the old city of occupied East Jerusalem. Having been closed for 3 years, New York's iconic Roosevelt Hotel is being repurposed as a migrant processing center. It's now operating as an asylum seeker arrival center as New York City struggles to keep up with the continued flow of migrants. At its peak, the hotel could house around 900 residents. Meanwhile, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has called on the Biden administration to provide more funding amid the migrant crisis. Colombian authorities have recovered the bodies of 3 adults who died in a plane crash in the Colombian jungle on May 1st. The fate of 4 children who were with them is still unclear. A Cessna 206 plane carrying 7 people issued a Mayday alert due to engine failure in the early hours of May 1st. Preliminary reports suggest that the 4 children escaped the plane and set off into the rainforest to find help. Italian authorities continue with flood rescue operations. This is after torrential rains have caused over 300 landslides in the region. At least 9 people have lost their lives in the recent floods. The country has announced an emergency aid of $22 million. 2 Italian vets saved farm animals from the deadly floods. The doctors transported horses and donkeys to a dry location away from the flooded areas. The vets estimate that many animals have already drowned as over 5,000 farms remain underwater. Drought in southern France is leading farmers to lose their harvest. Apricots are drying up and falling from branches due to the extreme heat. Farmers are losing their produce as a water shortage grips the region. With depleting water reserves, southern France is looking at one of its worst droughts. A new study claims that more than half of the world's lakes have shrunk since the early 1990s. This is because of climate change and global warming. A team of researchers assessed almost 2,000 lakes using satellite imagery. According to their findings, 53% of lakes show a decline in water coverage. The study concludes that over 2 billion people would be affected as lakes continue to dry up. In Mexico, the Popocatépetl volcano spit out ash and smoke. The volcano is situated southeast of the country's capital, Mexico City. It's one of the most active volcanoes in the country. Meanwhile, classes for over 100,000 students were cancelled in multiple towns clustered around Popocatépetl. A team of 30 South Korean experts will inspect the Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan. The inspections are related to the release of wastewater from the site. Remember, Fukushima was damaged in 2011 due to an earthquake which was followed by a tsunami. Japan plans to release waters from Fukushima to begin reconstruction work. However, small traces of radioactive material remain in the treated water. In Brazil, the government denied oil giant Petrobras a license to drill near the Amazon River. Officials cited the environmental and social vulnerability of the Amazon basin in the rejection. However, Petrobras has filed an appeal requesting the government to reconsider the ruling. The license denial has riled up certain factions in President Lula da Silva's coalition. Both green advocates and those prioritizing economic development want Environment Minister Marina Silva to step in. Scientists and NGOs have slammed the UN for its plastic reduction blueprint. According to the NGOs, the blueprint excluded certain workers in developing countries who are essential to recycling plastic. These are people who work as waste pickers, plastic cleanup volunteers, and individual recyclers. These workers and their methods of recycling are not recognized under the new blueprint. The UN plans to slash plastic waste by 80% in the next 20 years. It'll have negotiations on this in Paris next month on the 2nd of June. Walt Disney is scrapping plans to build a nearly $1 billion corporate campus in Florida in the US. This would have housed 2,000 employees. Disney says that challenging business conditions have prompted the company to reconsider its plans. The move comes against the backdrop of the conglomerate's ongoing legal battle with Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. American technology firm Oracle has reportedly laid off more than 3,000 employees. The layoffs were from its health information technology arm, Cerner. Reports suggest that the tech company has also paused raises and promotions in the unit. Oracle acquired Cerner in 2022 for nearly $28 billion. Australia's financial services company, AMP, has been fined more than $16 million. The company has been penalized over a scandal dating back to 2018. The financial firm had been taking insurance premiums from the accounts of dead clients. It had also conspired to charge fees for financial advice that was never given. The US Justice Department is reportedly planning to file a suit to block Korean Air from acquiring Asiana Airlines. The department is concerned that the deal will hurt competition on overlapping routes to the US. Korean Air and Asiana Airlines are South Korea's top two airlines. US-based General Electric has said that its financial chief, Carolina Dybeck-Happ, will step down. Dybeck-Happ had taken over as the industrial giant's CFO in early 2020. She will now be replaced by Rahul Ghai. Ghai will take over the role from September 1st. OpenAI is introducing the ChatGPT app for Apple's iOS. The company has said that the app will be free to use. It would sync history across devices to provide the optimum results. OpenAI has also said that ChatGPT Plus subscribers will get exclusive access to GPT-4's capabilities. GPT-4 is ChatGPT's successor with advanced features. The app's rollout for iOS will begin in the US. It'll expand to additional countries in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, Apple has restricted the use of AI tools like ChatGPT for its employees. It's concerned that the use of such tools may increase the risks of employees leaking confidential data. Apple has also advised its employees against the use of Microsoft-owned GitHub's AI tool Copilot. Copilot is used to automate the writing of software codes. This comes as the tech giant is preparing to develop its own AI-powered technology. 5 TikTok users from Montana have filed a lawsuit to block the state's new ban on the video sharing app. The users believe that the law violates their First Amendment right. The First Amendment protects a citizen's freedom of speech in the US. Earlier this week, Montana's governor signed a legislation to ban TikTok in the state. Twitter has accused Microsoft of using unauthorized data from its platform. Microsoft allegedly violated an agreement over using the social media platform's data. Twitter owner Elon Musk's lawyer has also accused Microsoft of sharing the data with government agencies without consent. Musk's lawyer has asked the tech giant to conduct an audit of its use of Twitter's content. Scientists have developed a device that allows amputees to feel sensations through a phantom hand. It allows patients to sense the temperature of objects. The technology need not be implemented in the body. Instead, it can simply be worn on the skin and combined with a regular prosthetic hand. Coming to sports, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 8 wickets in yesterday's IPL match. The game was played at Hyderabad's Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium. Hyderabad's Heinrich Klaasen scored 104 runs to take his side to 186 runs in 20 overs. However, Bangalore's Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis stole the home team's thunder. Kohli scored 100 runs in 63 balls, while du Plessis scored 71 runs, taking their side to a comfortable win. It was Kohli's 6th ton in the IPL. He was given the Man of the Match award for his innings. In football, Newcastle United dominated Brighton 4-1 in the Premier League. Brighton got off to a poor start after an own goal by Dennis Undav in the 22nd minute. Dan Burn scored for Newcastle in the 45th minute, piling on to the lead. Brighton's Dennis Undav found redemption by scoring a goal in the 51st minute though. However, Newcastle netted 2 goals in quick succession in the second half to seal the game. Newcastle secured 3 points with the win, boosting them to the 3rd spot in Premier League rankings. AS Roma earned a 0-0 draw against Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League semi-final return leg. Visitors Roma were on the back foot the entire game and had to survive immense pressure from the hosts. With the draw, Roma managed to edge past Leverkusen with a 1-0 aggregate win. They had scored in the first leg thanks to a goal from Eduardo Bove. The side led by Jose Mourinho will face Sevilla in the Europa League finals. Sevilla beat Juventus 2-1 in the second leg of the Europa League semi-finals. Substitute Eric Lamella's fabulous header 5 minutes into extra time earned them the win. On aggregate, Sevilla beat Juventus 3-2, securing a spot in the finals. In English League One football, Sheffield Wednesday pulled off one of the greatest comebacks ever against Peterborough. Sheffield had lost the first leg 4-0 and were booed off the pitch by their fans last Friday. However, they stormed back in the second leg with a 5-1 score, putting the aggregate against Peterborough at 5-all. The tie then went to penalties. Sheffield emerged victorious 5-3, sending their fans into a frenzy. Till now, no team in English Football League One playoffs had overcome a first-leg deficit of more than 2 goals. Sheffield, captained by 49-year-old Barry Bannon, became the first team to beat all odds. In tennis, Daniil Medvedev beat Yannick Hanfmann to reach the Italian Open semi-finals. Medvedev dominated Hanfmann 6-2, 6-2 in straight sets. World number 3 Medvedev soaked up Hanfmann's powerful shots and dominated the baseline exchanges. He won the game in just 1 hour and 20 minutes. Medvedev continues on his quest to win a 5th title this season. World number 5 Stefanos Tsitsipas beat Borna Coric in the Italian Open. The Greek Tsitsipas dominated Coric throughout the match and won 6-3, 6-4 in straight sets. Tsitsipas is yet to drop a set on Roman clay. He will face Russian Daniil Medvedev in the semi-finals at Rome. In other tennis news, Rafael Nadal has pulled out of the upcoming French Open. He made the announcement after failing to pass a fitness test. Nadal has been plagued with multiple injuries and struggles to recover from them. The 14-time Roland Garros winner said that 2024 could be the final season of his career. McLaren have urged Formula One to change the cost cap rules on investments in sustainability. McLaren's boss, Zak Brown, said that teams should not have to choose between spending on car performance and sustainability programs. Raising the cost cap would help teams promote sustainability without compromising on performance. Formula One introduced a cost cap in 2021 to level the playing field between big and small teams. This year's cost cap is set at $135 million. In athletics, more than 200 Russian athletes were sanctioned by the World Anti-Doping Agency. The agency found that Russian athletes had manipulated data and samples. Meanwhile, another 182 cases remain under investigation. Currently, the agency has banned the athletes from participating internationally for the next 4 years. However, Russia has appealed to reduce the ban to 2 years. Actor Harrison Ford has been honored with the Palme d'Or Award at the Cannes Film Festival. His film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, received a 5-minute-long standing ovation. Ford said that this is the fifth and final film of the franchise. He added that even though a series is being developed for the film franchise, he will not be a part of it. Rapper Ludacris has received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Ludacris, who has also acted in the Fast and Furious films, received the star in the Motion Pictures category. His star is the 2,756th one on the famous Hollywood Boulevard. Actor Vin Diesel and rapper Queen Latifah were present with Ludacris at the ceremony. Warner Bros. Discovery is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the studio with a 4-part documentary. 100 Years of Warner Bros. Will take the viewer through the studio's beginnings in the 1920s to its current global position. Clips from past TV shows and films and takes from directors and actors will also be part of the series. Actor Morgan Freeman will narrate the documentary. The second edition of the London Action Festival has announced its lineup. The festival is dedicated to all things action in film and television. Action sequences from drama series Game of Thrones will be discussed at the festival. Additionally, the villains from the action franchise John Wick will discuss their work. The festival will take place from the 21st to the 25th of June. The Critics' Choice Association has set its dates for the 2024 awards season. The 29th Annual Critics' Choice Awards will take place on the 14th of January next year. Submissions for the television category will open in September. Film and television nominations will be revealed in December. A new documentary on late Swedish DJ Avicii is being developed. The documentary is expected to include previously unreleased footage. Fresh interviews with Avicii's family and friends will also be part of the documentary. Avicii died in 2018 at the age of 28. Disney is removing content from its streaming platforms Disney Plus and Hulu in a cost-cutting move. At least 4 dozen titles, including Willow and Turner and Hooch, will be removed from the platforms. Disney CEO Bob Iger said that it's the right path for streaming's long-term profitability. The trans takeover picket at the Writers Guild of America strike drew over 200 writers and allies from the community. Writer Jacob Tobia said that they were in solidarity with the labor movement around the world. Concerns about trans employment and representation in pop culture were also raised at the strike. Rapper Flavor Flav joined the WGA strike outside the Warner Bros. Studios in Los Angeles. He also brought pizza, burgers and fries for the striking writers. The rapper registered his protest by dancing to the popular song Fight the Power by his hip-hop group Public Enemy. The Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, or SAG-AFTRA, are also planning to go on strike. The SAG-AFTRA union plans to hold a strike authorization vote ahead of the June 7th negotiations with major studios. This would allow union leaders to stage a walkout in case a new contract is not negotiated with Hollywood producers.